In a peaceful valley nestled between ancient mountains and verdant forests, there was a small village known for its harmonious way of life. The villagers followed the teachings of Zen Buddhism, which emphasized mindfulness, simplicity, and inner peace. At the heart of the village stood a serene temple where Master Hoshi, a wise and revered monk, resided. People from near and far visited the temple to seek guidance and wisdom. Among the villagers was a young man named Akio, who felt a constant restlessness in his heart. Despite having a loving family, a comfortable home, and good health, Akio was perpetually dissatisfied. He longed for a deeper sense of fulfillment and peace. One day, he decided to visit Master Hoshi to seek advice on how to achieve a better life. Early one misty morning, Akio walked to the temple, the air fresh and cool against his skin. He entered the courtyard and found Master Hoshi sitting in quiet meditation under a cherry blossom tree. Akio approached and bowed respectfully. "Master Hoshi," Akio began, "I seek your wisdom. Despite having all I need, I feel an emptiness inside. How can I find true peace and happiness?" Master Hoshi opened his eyes and smiled gently. "Peace and happiness are not found in external possessions or circumstances, Akio. They arise from within, cultivated by mindful daily practices. Come, let us walk together. And I will share with you 10 things to do every morning for a better life." With that, Master Hoshi led Akio to a quiet path that meandered through the village, each step a lesson in itself. 1. Wake up early and embrace the dawn. As they walked, the first light of dawn began to paint the sky in hues of pink and gold. Master Hoshi paused and pointed to the horizon. "Akio, waking up early allows you to experience the beauty of the dawn. This sacred time when the world is quiet and still, is a perfect moment for reflection and gratitude. Embrace the dawn, and let it fill you with a sense of wonder and possibility." Akio stood in awe of the sunrise, feeling a connection to the natural world that he had often overlooked in his hurried life. He promised himself to rise with the sun, to cherish the tranquility of the morning, and to start each day with gratitude for the simple beauty around him. 2. Practice mindful breathing. Master Hoshi continued their walk, leading Akio to a small garden filled with the fragrance of blooming flowers. They sat on a stone bench, and Master Hoshi demonstrated a simple breathing exercise. "Close your eyes, Akio. Breathe in deeply through your nose, feeling the air fill your lungs. Hold the breath for a moment, then slowly exhale through your mouth. Focus solely on your breath, letting go of all other thoughts." Akio followed the instructions, and as he breathed mindfully, he felt a sense of calm wash over him. Master Hoshi explained, "Mindful breathing centers you in the present moment, calming the mind and reducing stress. Begin each morning with this practice to ground yourself for the day ahead." 3. Stretch and move your body. Rising from the bench, Master Hoshi led Akio to a clearing where the soft grass invited movement. "Our bodies are temples," he said. "We must care for them to maintain our health and vitality." He guided Akio through a series of gentle stretches and movements, flowing from one pose to another with grace. Akio felt his muscles awaken and his blood circulate more freely. Incorporate stretching and movement into your morning routine, Master Hoshi advised. It invigorates the body and prepares you for the tasks of the day. 4. Drink a glass of water. After their exercises, they returned to the temple, where Master Hoshi offered Akio a glass of cool, clear water. Hydrate your body first thing in the morning, he instructed. Water purifies and rejuvenates, helping your organs function optimally. Akio drank the water, feeling its refreshing effect. He realized that this simple act of self-care was often neglected in his daily rush. From that moment, he vowed to start each day by nourishing his body with water. 5. Engage in morning meditation. Master Hoshi then led Akio to a quiet meditation room within the temple. They sat on cushions, the air filled with the faint scent of incense. Meditation is a cornerstone of Zen practice, Master Hoshi explained. It cultivates mindfulness, clarity, and inner peace. He guided Akio through a meditation session, focusing on their breath and observing their thoughts without attachment. As Akio sat in stillness, he felt his mind settle and his spirit calm. Dedicate time each morning to meditate, Master Hoshi advised. It will help you navigate life's challenges with a serene heart. 6. Express gratitude. After their meditation, Master Hoshi encouraged Akio to reflect on the blessings in his life. Gratitude transforms our perspective, he said. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have. Akio listed the things he was grateful for: his family, his health, the beauty of nature, and the guidance of Master Hoshi. As he spoke, he felt a warmth spread through his chest. Make gratitude a daily practice, Master Hoshi urged. It opens your heart to joy and contentment. 7. Set intentions for the day. Master Hoshi then led Akio outside, where they could see the villagers beginning their daily routines. Setting intentions gives your day purpose and direction, he explained. It aligns your actions with your values and goals. Akio thought about what he wanted to achieve that day and how he wanted to conduct himself. He shared his intentions with Master Hoshi, who nodded approvingly. By setting intentions each morning, you create a roadmap for a meaningful and productive day. 8. Eat a nutritious breakfast. They returned to the temple, where a simple but wholesome breakfast awaited them. Nourish your body with healthy food, Master Hoshi said as they sat down to eat. A nutritious breakfast fuels your body and mind, providing the energy you need to thrive. As Akio savored the meal, he appreciated the importance of mindful eating. He realized that his usual rushed breakfasts left him feeling sluggish and unprepared. He resolved to give his morning meal the attention it deserved, recognizing it as an essential foundation for his day. 9. Engage in a creative activity. After breakfast, Master Hoshi invited Akio to join him in the temple's art studio. Creativity is a form of expression and meditation, he said. Engaging in a creative activity each morning nurtures your spirit and stimulates your mind. Akio chose to paint, inspired by the morning's experiences. As he moved his brush across the canvas, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Find a creative outlet that resonates with you, Master Hoshi advised. It could be painting, writing, music, or any form of art. This practice will enrich your soul. 10. Offer kindness to others. Their final stop was the village square, where people went about their daily lives. Master Hoshi smiled at everyone they passed, offering words of kindness and encouragement. Kindness is a powerful force, he said. By offering kindness to others, you cultivate compassion and strengthen the bonds of community. Akio watched as a simple smile from Master Hoshi brightened the faces of those he greeted. He realized that small acts of kindness had a profound impact. Make kindness a habit, Master Hoshi encouraged. It creates ripples of positivity that enhance the lives of others and enrich your own. Over the following weeks, Akio diligently practiced the 10 morning rituals Master Hoshi had taught him. Each day began with the serene beauty of the dawn, followed by mindful breathing, gentle stretching, and the refreshing purity of water. Meditation brought clarity and peace, gratitude opened his heart, and setting intentions provided direction. A nutritious breakfast fueled his body, creative activities nurtured his spirit, and acts of kindness connected him to his community. As these practices became a part of his daily routine, Akio noticed a profound transformation. The restlessness that had plagued him began to fade, replaced by a deep sense of fulfillment and peace. He found joy in the present moment and approached each day with a positive and open heart. One morning, Akio returned to the temple to thank Master Hoshi for his guidance. "Master," he said, bowing deeply, "your wisdom has changed my life. I feel a sense of peace and happiness I never thought possible. How can I ever repay you?" Master Hoshi smiled, his eyes twinkling with warmth. "There is no need for repayment, Akio. The greatest gift you can give is to live these practices fully and share them with others. When you help others find their path to peace and happiness, you honor the teachings of Zen." With a heart full of gratitude, Akio left the temple, determined to share the wisdom he had gained. He became a source of inspiration for his family, friends, and community, helping them discover the simple yet profound practices that lead to a better life. And so, the teachings of Master Hoshi spread, touching the lives of many and fostering a community grounded in mindfulness, compassion, and inner peace. The village continued to thrive, a testament to the transformative power of embracing the dawn, practicing mindfulness, nurturing the body and spirit, and living with kindness and gratitude. In this peaceful valley, the lessons of Zen Buddhism flourished, guiding generations to come. And in the heart of it all, the temple stood as a beacon of wisdom, reminding all who visited that the path to a better life begins with simple, mindful practices every morning. Thanks for watching. Hope enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video. There is a paradox in human relationships. When you give too much, people take you for granted. When you speak too often, your words lose their value. And when you are always available, people assume you always will be, yet, the moment you withdraw, the moment you become silent, something remarkable happens. The noise of false relationships fades away, and only the truth remains. Those who cared only for what you gave them will disappear. Those who valued you for who you are will seek you out. Buddha once said, "If you want to know who your true friends are, disappear for a while." This is not an act of bitterness but an act of wisdom. Silence is the test that reveals the depth of a relationship. What happens when you cut all contacts? Do people search for you, or do they move on without a second thought? This is the truth of life. What remains in absence is what was real in presence. To understand this deeply, let us step into a story of a man who decided to test silence, to cut all contacts, and to discover the reality of those around him. The story of the silent man. There was once a man who lived surrounded by many people, friends, family, colleagues, and companions. He was always available, always listening, always helping. His presence was a constant source of support to others, whenever someone needed advice. They came to him. Whenever someone needed help, he was there. He believed in kindness and generosity, in always being there for others, but over time, something troubled him. He began to notice that people only came to him when they needed something. They praised him when they were in difficulty, but when they were happy, they forgot about him. He started to wonder, was he truly valued, or was he just being used? One day, he decided to conduct a simple experiment. He stopped talking. He withdrew from conversations. He cut all contacts. Days passed, then weeks. At first, people noticed his absence. Some asked where he was, but when he did not respond, they moved on. The silence became a mirror reflecting the truth. Those who only needed him for their own benefit vanished. But then, something unexpected happened. 1. The noise fades. In the first few days of his silence, his phone was filled with messages. Where are you? Are you okay? We need to talk. But as days turned into weeks, the messages stopped. He realized something profound. Most people in his life were not there for him, but for what he provided. The moment he stopped providing, they stopped needing him. In Buddhism, this is known as upadana, attachment. People attach themselves not to a person, but to what they receive from that person. When the source of benefit disappears, so does their attachment. His silence became a filter, separating true relationships from false ones. 2. Those who care will find you. As he continued his silence, he noticed something else. Amidst all those who disappeared, there were a few who remained. A few who did not need anything from him, yet still sought him out. One day, a close friend traveled a long distance just to see him. You have been silent for so long. I don't need anything from you. I just wanted to know if you are all right. This was the truth of human connection. Those who care do not come because they need something. They come because they value you. In Zen philosophy, there is a saying, when the heart is pure, love flows without expectation. True care does not come from need. It comes from love. And love is silent. It does not ask, it does not demand, it simply exists. 3. Silence teaches you who you are. As more time passed, he experienced another change. He became comfortable in his silence. Without the distractions of others, he could hear his own thoughts more clearly. He realized how much time he had spent catering to others, how much energy he had given away without receiving anything in return. He began to ask himself, who am I without others? What do I truly desire? What do I need to heal? In Buddhism, silence is not emptiness, it is clarity. When the noise of the world fades, the truth of the self emerges. He started enjoying his solitude. He read books, meditated, and walked in nature. He discovered that peace was not found in people, it was found within. 4. Rebuilding with wisdom. After months of silence, he knew he had learned enough. It was time to return, not to the old ways, but with new wisdom. He reached out to those who had sought him with sincerity. He reconnected only with those who valued him beyond what he could give. To others, he remained distant, not out of anger, but out of understanding. He no longer felt the need to be available to everyone. There is a teaching in Zen, a tree does not chase the birds that leave it. It simply continues to grow, and those who appreciate its shade will return. This is the wisdom of silence. It is not an escape. It is a purification. It removes what is unnecessary and leaves only what is real. The deeper reflection on silence and cutting contacts. The greatest transformations in life often come not from action, but from stillness. When you remove yourself from the noise, when you step back from the distractions of people who do not value you, you begin to see reality as it truly is. Let us reflect on the key teachings we can take from this journey of silence. 1. Silence is a test of true connections. People are drawn to those who provide something, whether it is emotional support, financial help, entertainment, or validation. But true relationships exist beyond these transactions. When you go silent, when you stop reaching out, the ones who truly care will reveal themselves. This is why silence is powerful. It forces truth to the surface. A relationship that survives only when you put in all the effort is not a real relationship. If someone values you, they will not need constant reminders of your existence. They will seek you out even when you have nothing to offer. Are your relationships built on mutual care or convenience? Who in your life reaches out only when they need something? Who still looks for you when you are silent? The answers to these questions will show you the difference between illusion and truth. 2. Cutting contacts is a form of self-respect. Many people hesitate to cut contacts because they fear being alone. But true wisdom teaches that being surrounded by the wrong people is far worse than being alone. If you must constantly chase someone's attention, they do not deserve your presence. If you must constantly give and receive nothing in return, you are being drained. There is a saying in Zen, a man who respects himself does not beg for a seat at a table where he is not welcome. Cutting contacts is not about anger. It is about self-respect. It is about creating space for people who truly value you. Do you keep people in your life out of fear of loneliness? Are you giving more than you receive in your relationships? Do you feel drained after interacting with certain people? If the answer is yes, then silence is your answer. 3. The fear of losing others is an illusion. Many people think, if I go silent, I will lose everyone. But the truth is, you are not losing anyone. You are only losing the illusion that they cared. If someone forgets you the moment you stop making an effort, did you ever truly have them in the first place? In Buddhism, attachment is one of the biggest causes of suffering. We hold on to relationships that no longer serve us, fearing that if we let go, we will have nothing left. But letting go does not leave you empty, it leaves you free. If someone was meant to be in your life, silence will not push them away. It will draw them closer. What are you truly afraid of losing? Have you mistaken attachment for genuine love? What might happen if you let go of those who do not truly value you? Freedom comes when you no longer fear what will happen if you walk away. 4. Silence is the path to inner peace. When you stop chasing people, when you stop forcing conversations, something beautiful happens. You discover peace. Most of the stress in life comes from the expectations of others. The need to please, the need to respond, the need to be available. But when you choose silence, you reclaim your energy. In Zen practice, monks spend years in silence not to escape the world, but to hear their own thoughts clearly. Because in silence, you realize, you do not need external validation, you do not need to be liked by everyone, you do not need endless conversations to feel valued. The less you speak, the more you listen, to yourself, to the truth, to the wisdom that was always there. Do you feel exhausted from constantly responding to people? Have you forgotten what it feels like to be at peace? What could you gain from stepping back and embracing silence? Your peace is more important than pleasing others. 5. The right people will stay, the wrong people will go. When you stop talking, when you stop reaching out, two things happen. 1. The people who were only there for convenience will disappear. 2. The people who truly value you will remain. You do not need to beg for attention. You do not need to prove your worth. When you are silent, when you remove yourself, when you cut contacts, the truth reveals itself effortlessly. And this is the greatest piece of all. There is a Zen saying, a flower does not chase the bees. It simply blooms, and the right ones come to it, so be silent. Cut all contacts. Watch who truly cares, and most importantly, bloom. Let go, and let the truth remain. At the core of Zen and Buddhist philosophy is one simple truth: everything that is real will remain, and everything that is false will fade. If someone loves you, they will seek you. If someone values you, they will make an effort. If someone truly cares, silence will not drive them away, it will bring them closer, so do not fear silence. Do not fear losing people. Fear only the illusion of false relationships. In your silence, you will find your true self. And in that self, you will find everything you were looking for, because in the end, the only people who truly belong in your life are the ones who do not need words to remember you. Thanks for watching. Hope enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video. There is a pain unlike any other, one that does not leave scars on the skin but carves wounds deep into the soul. It is the pain of being ignored. You send a message, but there is no reply. You call, but the silence stretches like an endless void. The person who once acknowledged your presence, who once exchanged words and glances, now acts as if you do not exist. A heaviness settles in your chest, and your mind spins with questions. Did I do something wrong? Why am I not enough? Many people, when ignored, react in ways that make their suffering worse. They beg for attention, they become resentful, or they lose their sense of self-worth. These reactions do not bring peace, instead, they deepen the wound. The wise ones have always taught that suffering comes from clinging, from the mind's desperate grasping at things that are slipping away. In the silence of being ignored, there is a great lesson, a lesson in detachment, in inner strength, and in the nature of human relationships. The Buddha once said, attachment is the root of suffering. When someone ignores you, your suffering does not come from their silence, it comes from your attachment to their attention. If you can free yourself from this attachment, you will also free yourself from pain. But how? This is where wisdom is needed. There are 3 mistakes that people make when they are ignored. If you can avoid these mistakes, you will not only find peace, but you will also gain something far greater, the ability to remain unshaken, no matter how others treat you. Now, let me share a story. A story of a young seeker who, like many, struggled with the pain of being ignored. A story that reveals the 3 mistakes, and the wisdom needed to avoid them. The Seeker and the Silent Master. There was once a young seeker who traveled far in search of wisdom. He had studied the scriptures, practiced meditation, and sought the guidance of many teachers. Yet, despite his learning, he was troubled by one great suffering, the pain of being ignored. He had once been close to a group of companions who praised him, laughed with him, and made him feel important. But one day, without explanation, they began to ignore him. They passed by without greeting him, spoke to others but not to him, and acted as if he had become invisible. The seeker's heart burned with confusion. Why are they doing this? He felt wounded, rejected, and restless. The more he thought about it, the heavier his suffering became. Desperate for answers, he went to see a great master who was known for his wisdom. When he arrived, the master was sitting under a tree, gazing at the sky in silence. The seeker bowed and spoke urgently, "Master, I am in deep pain. My friends have started ignoring me. I do not know why, but their silence torments me. I cannot eat, I cannot sleep. Tell me, what should I do?" The master closed his eyes for a moment, then said softly, "Do nothing." The seeker was puzzled. "But Master, how can I do nothing? I feel abandoned, humiliated. Should I not seek an answer? Should I not confront them? Should I not prove my worth?" The master smiled gently and said, "There are 3 mistakes you must not make when someone ignores you. If you can avoid these, your suffering will disappear. 1. Chasing those who ignore you." The master picked up a handful of sand and let it slip through his fingers. "When you chase after those who ignore you," he said, "you are like one trying to hold on to sand. The tighter you grasp, the more it slips away." The seeker thought about his behavior. He had tried everything to regain his friend's attention. He had asked them what was wrong. He had tried to be extra kind. He had even begged some of them to tell him why they were treating him this way. But the more he tried, the colder they became. The master continued, "Chasing those who ignore you only gives them more power over you. When they see that their silence controls you, they will continue it, either to feed their ego or to distance themselves further." "But Master," the seeker protested, "how can I simply let them go? Should I not fight for the bond we once had?" The master shook his head. "A river never begs the rocks to move aside. It simply flows around them. If someone does not value your presence, why should you make them the center of your world?" The seeker was silent, reflecting on these words. 2. Letting their behavior define your worth. The master then picked up a mirror and held it before the seeker. "Tell me," he asked, "if this mirror were covered in dust, would you say that the mirror itself is dirty?" "No," the seeker replied. "The mirror is still clear beneath the dust." The master nodded. "And so it is with you. When others ignore you, it is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of their own state of mind." The seeker realized that he had been measuring his self-worth by how others treated him. When they praised him, he felt valuable. When they ignored him, he felt worthless. "But Master," he said, "how can I stop feeling unworthy when they act as if I do not exist?" The master pointed to the sun. "Does the sun cease to shine just because someone closes their eyes?" "No," the seeker admitted. "Then why should you doubt your own light just because someone refuses to see it?" The seeker lowered his head in shame. He had been giving others the power to decide his worth. But the master's words showed him the truth. His value did not decrease just because someone failed to recognize it. 3. Holding on to resentment. The master then picked up a cup of tea and handed it to the seeker. "Drink," he said. The seeker took a sip, but as soon as he did, he spat it out. "Master, this tea is bitter." The master chuckled. "That is how resentment tastes, bitter to the one who holds it." The seeker had indeed been holding resentment. He felt anger toward those who ignored him. He had imagined ways to make them regret their behavior. But none of this had brought him peace. The master continued, "Resentment is like holding a burning coal and expecting the other person to feel the pain. But who suffers? Only you." The seeker sighed. "So what should I do instead?" "Let go," the master said simply. "Not for them, but for yourself. Resentment only ties you to those who hurt you. Release it, and you free yourself." The seeker took a deep breath. For the first time, he felt a sense of relief. The art of letting go. When someone ignores us, the mind reacts as if it has been physically wounded. The ego trembles, and the heart searches for reasons. We begin to overanalyze, replaying past conversations, looking for mistakes, questioning our worth. But all of this stems from one fundamental illusion, the belief that our value is dependent on another's recognition. Let us reflect deeply on the lessons learned from the seeker's journey and the wisdom of the master. These teachings are not just about dealing with silence from others, they are about mastering the mind, understanding the nature of human relationships, and ultimately finding inner freedom. 1. The more you chase, the more you lose. Chasing after those who ignore you is like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you grip, the more it slips away. Why does this happen? Because desperation is repelling. When you beg for attention, it signals that you are dependent on others for your happiness. But a truly fulfilled person does not beg, does not chase. They radiate a sense of completeness, and this is what naturally attracts others. It is the paradox of human relationships. When you stop seeking approval, people become more drawn to you. The river does not beg the mountain to move, it simply flows around it. So too must we learn to flow without attachment. Have you ever noticed that when you stop chasing someone's attention, they suddenly become curious about you again? 2. Your worth is not defined by others. When the master held up the mirror, he revealed one of the most profound truths. When someone ignores you, it is not a reflection of your value, it is a reflection of them. Think about the sun. Some people rise early to watch its beauty. Others sleep through it. Some take shelter from its warmth, while others bask in it. But the sun remains the sun, unchanged by who acknowledges it. In the same way, if someone ignores you, it does not mean you are unworthy. Their silence is not a measure of your value, it is simply a reflection of their mind, their priorities, their emotional state. Do not let their blindness make you forget your own light. How often have you let someone's actions make you feel small, when in reality, they were struggling with their own issues? 3. Resentment is a poison you drink yourself. It is natural to feel anger when ignored, but holding on to resentment is like carrying a heavy stone in your heart, it weighs you down. While the other person walks freely, when we resent someone for ignoring us, we remain mentally tied to them. We keep replaying the pain, feeding it, strengthening it. But the moment we decide to let go, we reclaim our power. Forgiveness does not mean allowing people back into your life. It simply means refusing to let their actions disturb your peace any longer. A great Zen teaching says, let go, or be dragged. If you hold on to resentment, you will be dragged through suffering. But if you release it, you will experience a lightness that no one can take from you. Is there someone you are still resenting for ignoring you? What would happen if you chose to release that resentment today? Freedom comes from within. True peace does not come from people giving you attention. It comes from knowing that you do not need their attention to feel whole. The world is unpredictable. Some will love you, some will ignore you, some will misunderstand you. But as long as your happiness depends on others, you will always be at their mercy. The highest wisdom is learning to be at peace within yourself, regardless of how others treat you. So the next time someone ignores you, pause and remember the lesson of the seeker. Do not chase, do not doubt your worth, do not hold on to resentment. Instead, smile. Let them go. And in doing so, set yourself free. Thanks for watching. Hope enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video. What does it mean to be mentally strong? Why do some people seem to navigate the storms of life with unwavering calmness, while others crumble under the weight of even the smallest hardships? This question, timeless as it is, has been pondered by countless seekers. The answer lies not in physical strength or external achievements but in the cultivation of mental resilience. Gautama Buddha once said, "Endurance is one of the most difficult disciplines, but it is to the one who endures that the final victory comes." This teaching reveals the essence of mental strength, not the absence of challenges, but the ability to endure, to rise above, and to maintain a clear, steady mind in the face of life's difficulties. With this truth in mind, let us explore a story that brings to life 3 powerful tips for being mentally strong, rooted in Zen and Buddhist philosophy. There once lived a young seeker who, although blessed with many talents, found himself struggling with inner turmoil. He often felt overwhelmed by doubts, fears, and anxieties about the future. Despite his outward successes, his mind was a storm of worries, and he constantly sought peace, though it seemed elusive. One day, filled with frustration, he approached a wise teacher who was known for his deep understanding of the mind and its workings. The teacher sat quietly, observing the seeker's agitated state, and with a gentle smile, invited him to sit beside him. After a long pause, the teacher spoke, "The mind, like the body, must be strengthened. It is not the avoidance of hardship that makes one mentally strong, but the way one faces it. I will share with you 3 essential practices. Practice them diligently, and you will find the strength you seek." Tip 1. Embrace impermanence. The teacher began his first lesson by saying, "The first step to mental strength is to embrace the truth of impermanence. Everything in this life, joys, sorrows, successes, and failures, is fleeting. The more you cling to what is temporary, the more you suffer." The seeker, confused, asked, "But how can I not be attached? How can I not be affected by the loss of something or someone I care about?" The teacher smiled softly and pointed to a delicate flower blooming nearby. "Look at this flower," he said. "Its beauty shines brightly now, but soon it will wither. If you were to cling to its beauty, you would feel sorrow when it fades. But if you appreciate it in this moment, knowing that it is transient, you will experience the joy of its presence without suffering its loss." The seeker contemplated this for a moment. The idea that all things are temporary seemed simple enough, but applying it to his life felt much harder. He thought of all the times he had been crushed by the loss of something he valued, a friendship, a job, a prized possession. The pain had always come from his attachment, his desire for things to remain as they were. The teacher continued, "When you truly accept impermanence, you begin to understand that no situation, no emotional state, and no challenge is permanent. This realization gives you mental freedom. You are no longer trapped by the fear of loss or change because you know everything is in constant motion. To be mentally strong, you must flow with life, not resist it." In the days that followed, the seeker began to apply this teaching. When he faced disappointment, instead of being overwhelmed by it, he reminded himself of its transient nature. The more he practiced, the less his mind was weighed down by frustration or fear. Slowly, he felt a newfound sense of peace, an inner strength that came from the understanding that nothing lasts forever, neither pain nor pleasure. Tip 2. master your thoughts. The teacher moved on to the second lesson. One day, while sitting by the riverbank, he asked the seeker, "What do you see when you look at this river?" The seeker replied, "I see water flowing, always in motion, never still." The teacher nodded. The mind is much like this river. Thoughts are constantly flowing, one after the other. Some are calm, while others are turbulent. But just as the river can erode its banks or flood its surroundings, uncontrolled thoughts can erode your mental peace. To be mentally strong, you must learn to master your thoughts, instead of letting them control you. The seeker asked, "But how can I control my thoughts when they seem to come and go as they please?" The teacher smiled and picked up a small leaf from the ground. He placed it gently on the surface of the river. The leaf floated effortlessly, carried by the current. "Your thoughts are like this leaf," he said. "They will come and go, just as the river flows. But you can choose how much attention to give them. If you grasp at every thought that passes, you will be swept away by them. But if you observe them without attachment, you remain anchored in stillness." The seeker pondered this deeply. He realized that much of his mental suffering came from his habit of dwelling on every negative thought, thoughts of past mistakes, anxieties about the future, and fears of failure. These thoughts, like the river's current, would drag him along, leaving him feeling powerless. The teacher then offered practical guidance. When a negative thought arises, acknowledge it, but do not feed it. Observe it as you would observe a cloud passing in the sky. It comes, it stays for a while, and then it moves on. The key is to not identify with your thoughts. You are not your thoughts, you are the awareness that witnesses them. Over time, the seeker began to practice mindfulness. He learned to watch his thoughts without judgment. When a negative or anxious thought appeared, he would breathe deeply, acknowledging its presence without engaging with it. Slowly but surely, he gained mastery over his mind. No longer was he a victim of his thoughts. Instead, he was the observer, watching the river of his mind flow without being swept away. Tip 3. Cultivate inner silence. The teacher then shared the third and final lesson, one that required the seeker to go even deeper into his practice. One of the greatest sources of mental strength, the teacher explained, is silence. But not the silence of words. I am speaking of the inner silence, the stillness that resides within all of us. In this silence, you will find clarity, wisdom, and the strength to face any challenge. The seeker, intrigued, asked, "But how do I find this silence when my mind is always filled with noise?" The teacher gestured to the surrounding forest. "Do you hear the birds?" He asked. The seeker nodded. "Do you hear the wind in the trees?" Again. The seeker nodded. Now, the teacher continued, "Be silent, and listen beyond the sounds." The seeker closed his eyes and listened intently. At first, all he could hear were the sounds of nature, the birds, the rustling leaves, the distant river. But as he listened more deeply, he became aware of something else, a profound stillness beneath the sounds, a quiet presence that seemed to hold everything in place. That, the teacher said softly, is the silence I speak of. It is always there, but we rarely notice it because we are so distracted by the noise of the mind. To be mentally strong, you must learn to connect with this inner silence, for it is in this space that you will find true peace. The seeker spent many days in quiet meditation, learning to tune into the silence within. It was not easy at first. His mind would often wander, filling with thoughts and distractions. But with patience and perseverance, he began to touch the stillness that lay beneath the surface of his busy mind. In that silence, he found a wellspring of strength. The more he practiced, the less he was affected by the chaos of the world around him. No matter what challenges came his way, he could return to that inner silence and draw from its deep reservoir of peace and wisdom. As the months passed, the seeker transformed. He no longer felt overwhelmed by life's difficulties. He had learned to embrace impermanence, to master his thoughts, and to cultivate inner silence. These practices gave him a sense of mental strength and resilience he had never known before. One day, he returned to the teacher, his heart full of gratitude. "I have found the peace I was searching for," he said. "But more importantly, I have found the strength to face whatever life brings." The teacher smiled warmly. "The strength was always within you," he said. "It was simply a matter of uncovering it." The seeker nodded, understanding now that mental strength is not something external to be attained, but an inner quality to be cultivated. It is the ability to remain steady in the face of life's challenges, to accept impermanence, to master one's thoughts, and to find peace in the silence of the mind. The story of the seeker and the wise teacher illustrates three powerful tips for being mentally strong, rooted in Zen and Buddhist teachings. 1. Embrace impermanence. Understanding that all things are temporary allows you to let go of attachments and fears, creating space for mental freedom and peace. 2. Master your thoughts. By observing your thoughts without attachment, you can prevent them from controlling you and eroding your mental strength. 3. Cultivate inner silence. In the stillness of the mind, you find clarity, wisdom, and the strength to face any challenge life brings. Gautama Buddha's teachings remind us that mental strength is not about avoiding difficulties, but about developing the resilience to face them with calm and clarity. By embracing impermanence, mastering our thoughts, and connecting with inner silence, we unlock the deep mental strength that resides within us all. The seeker's journey is a reminder that peace and resilience are not found outside but are cultivated from within, through practice and understanding. True mental strength lies in our ability to endure life's challenges with grace, rooted in the timeless wisdom of the mind. Thanks for watching. Hope enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video. How can one free the mind from negative thoughts? This question echoes in the hearts of many, and it is a struggle as old as time itself. Negative thoughts can grip the mind, like vines choking a tree, suffocating growth and peace. But there is hope, for even the greatest minds of our time have faced this battle and emerged victorious. Gautama Buddha, the Enlightened One, once said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." This is the foundation of the practice that leads to liberation from negative thoughts. The key to this freedom lies not in suppressing these thoughts or fighting against them directly, but in understanding their nature and choosing to rise above them. Let me share a story that illustrates this truth in a deeply engaging way, a story of a wise seeker who battled with the shadows of his own mind and found peace through the power of ignoring negative thoughts, the birth of the inner conflict. Once, there was a man who sought wisdom and peace. He lived a simple life, yet his mind was constantly troubled by negative thoughts. These thoughts seemed to come out of nowhere. At times, they whispered that he was not good enough, that he would never succeed, that he was unworthy of happiness. At other times, they filled him with doubt, envy, and anger. One day, as he sat alone in contemplation, a question arose within him: why do these thoughts persist? I try to push them away. But the more I resist, the stronger they become. Is there no way to be free? His mind was like a restless ocean, with waves of negativity crashing into his consciousness, leaving him exhausted and anxious. He tried everything to silence them. He would argue with them, counter them with positive affirmations, and sometimes, he would even pretend they weren't there. But it was like trying to stop the wind with his bare hands. The harder he fought, the more entangled he became. Here, we see the first stage of the struggle with negative thoughts: resistance. The man tries to fight the thoughts directly, but the act of resistance only strengthens them. This is a common experience. The more we resist negativity, the more power we give it. Buddha teaches that fighting the mind is not the way to peace. Instead, understanding and acceptance are the first steps. The wise teacher's advice. In his desperation, the man sought the counsel of a wise teacher who was known for his deep understanding of the mind. The man explained his struggle and asked, "How can I stop these thoughts? They make me suffer, and I feel powerless against them." The teacher listened quietly, then said, "You must not fight the thoughts. To fight is to lose. Instead, you must understand that negative thoughts are like clouds in the sky. They come and go, but they are not you. The sky remains unchanged no matter how many clouds pass through it." The man was confused. But how can I ignore them when they seem so real, so overwhelming? The teacher smiled and continued. The thoughts seem real because you give them attention. They are nothing more than passing illusions. You are the observer, not the thought itself. The moment you realize this, the thoughts lose their power. But what if they keep coming back? The man asked. "They will come, again and again, as long as you live," the teacher said, "but you must learn to watch them, like a river flowing by. Do not jump into the river, just watch it flow. Soon, you will see that the thoughts have no power unless you grab onto them." Here, the teacher introduces the concept of non-attachment. Negative thoughts cannot harm us if we do not engage with them. They are like visitors passing through the mind. And it is only when we invite them in and entertain them that they grow stronger. Buddha's teachings remind us that we are not our thoughts, we are the awareness that observes them, the first attempt to ignore. The man left the teacher's presence, determined to try this new approach. He went back to his quiet life, and sure enough, the negative thoughts returned. They told him he was wasting his time, that he was a failure, that he would never find peace. But this time, instead of fighting back or drowning in despair, he simply noticed the thoughts. "Ah, there you are again," he said to himself. "I see you, but I won't give you my energy." He focused his attention on his breath, on the present moment, and allowed the thoughts to pass by, like leaves carried by the wind. At first, it was difficult. The thoughts were persistent, louder even. But as he practiced this new way of observing them without attachment, something remarkable began to happen. The thoughts would rise up, but they no longer stayed. They came, and then they went, like waves crashing against the shore and then retreating back into the sea. The man felt a sense of relief. For the first time in his life, He realized that he could live with negative thoughts without being consumed by them. The act of observing negative thoughts without engagement is the core of mindfulness. At first, the thoughts seem louder because we are more aware of them. But with time, their grip weakens. Buddha's wisdom teaches us that the mind can be tamed not by force, but by gentle awareness and detachment. The return of the darkest thoughts. Months passed, and the man grew more skilled at ignoring his negative thoughts. He felt a new sense of freedom and peace. But then, without warning, a day came when his darkest, most painful thoughts returned. These were the thoughts he feared the most, the thoughts that questioned his very existence, his purpose, his worth. The man felt his heart race, and panic began to set in. Why now? He thought. I thought I was free of these thoughts. Have I failed? In his distress, he ran back to the wise teacher and said, Master, the thoughts have come back, stronger than ever. I don't know what to do. I thought I had learned to ignore them, but now they are overwhelming me again. The teacher looked at him kindly and said, The mind is like a deep ocean. Sometimes, when you dive deep, you find hidden currents you were not aware of. These thoughts have always been there, but now you are strong enough to face them. Do not fear them. They are simply the remnants of old fears and doubts. Watch them, let them pass, and they too will dissolve. But they are so painful, the man said, I don't know if I can endure them. You can, the teacher said. And you will. Painful thoughts are like shadows, they appear dark and overwhelming, but they have no substance. You must remember, you are the sky, vast and unchanging. These thoughts are only passing clouds, no matter how dark they seem. The man bowed and left, determined to apply this wisdom. He returned to his practice, and this time, when the darkest thoughts arose, he did not run. He did not try to escape. He sat with them, observing them in silence, watching them without judgment. Slowly, the thoughts began to lose their intensity. They came, but they no longer had the power to drag him down. He was like the sky, vast, unmovable, at peace. The return of painful thoughts is natural. Even when we grow stronger, the mind may bring up deeper fears and doubts. But Buddha's teachings remind us that all thoughts, no matter how painful, are impermanent. By sitting with them without fear, we allow them to dissolve naturally. Like shadows that disappear in the light of awareness, over time, the man's relationship with his mind transformed. He no longer feared negative thoughts, for he understood their nature. They were like waves, like clouds, like shadows, impermanent and without true power. He was the observer, the sky, the awareness that could never be touched by these passing illusions. One day, as he sat in meditation, a profound realization dawned on him. He saw that his thoughts, whether positive or negative, were not his identity. They were simply movements of the mind, arising and passing away like the wind. His true self was beyond thought, beyond emotion, beyond all the stories the mind created. He smiled, feeling a deep peace settle within him. The negative thoughts still came from time to time, but they no longer troubled him. He no longer felt the need to fight them, for he knew that they were nothing more than fleeting ripples on the surface of his vast, infinite being. In that moment, he understood the power of ignoring negative thoughts, not by pretending they didn't exist, but by recognizing their impermanence and refusing to be controlled by them. He had won the battle, not by fighting, but by transcending. The ultimate realization is that we are not our thoughts. By observing them without attachment, we begin to see their true nature as temporary and insubstantial. This is the essence of Buddhist wisdom. Liberation comes not from fighting the mind, but from understanding and rising above it. The man's journey teaches us a timeless truth. Negative thoughts are inevitable, but they do not define us. The more we fight them, the stronger they seem, but by simply observing and letting them pass, we reclaim our power. Gautama Buddha's wisdom guides us to this realization: the mind is everything. What you think, you become. By becoming the observer, by refusing to engage with negativity, we become free. The power lies not in force, but in understanding that thoughts are transient and fleeting. When we stop identifying with them and merely witness them, they lose their hold over us. This is the true victory over negative thoughts, a victory not of suppression, but of transcendence. We are more than our thoughts, more than our emotions. We are the infinite awareness that remains, always at peace. In this way, you too can fight negative thoughts and win, not by battle, but by releasing the need to fight at all. The path to mental freedom lies in detachment, mindfulness, and the wisdom to let go. Thanks for watching. Hope enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video.